What is up, YouTube? Today we're back. We're going to be reviewing Mr. Kiato himself. Him and his counterpart Kahono are going to be releasing on a banner here in a few hours, if not already released based on the time that you're watching this video. We're going to be going over exactly what this unit does, should you summon on him or why you shouldn't summon on him, and then in a future video, you might even watch the other video before you watch this one, we're going to be going over his counterpart Kahono as well. First and foremost, I just want to say Happy New Year to everyone. I hope everyone has a blessed year. Leave me a comment down in the comment section below. How did your Julius summons go? How are you enjoying the game so far? And if you summoned for either one of these units, let me know if you ended up pulling them. Also, if you could be an amazing person, if you would drop a sub on the channel and a like on the video, that would be greatly appreciated. So like I said, we're going to be going over Kiato today, and this unit's amazing. He is so good, and I'm so upset about the timing that he's being released. So Kiato is a technique unit. We're going to go over his skills real quick. So skill 1, Cross Slash. Cross Slash is an enemy with 2 swords dealing damage. Upon having a buff, attacks after applying a 15% increased damage to yourself. So in order for this to proc, he has to have a buff onto him. If he has a buff, then he procs this on himself before he attacks. So he's just buffing himself again. Swirling Torrent, I can't talk. Slashes an enemy with rapidly spinning force dealing damage. After attack, God, I can't talk. Attacks after applying a 10% increased crit rate buff to self for each buff affecting yourself. Now that's just your basic one here. For the skill page, you're getting Grant Self, Dispel DOT, which it means damage over time status effect, so like bleed, you know, poison, fire, that type of thing. And if DOT is dispelled, gain 1 stack of exciting dance. So somehow someone gets rid of that from you, then you get 1 exciting dance, or when it runs out, you get 1 stack of exciting dance. Which, you know, the skill page just makes the skill even better, but, you know, without it, just basic skill wise, this is amazing. We're going to be going over why in a second. We're going to go over the ultimate real quick, which is Dancing Vortex. It slashes an enemy with a sword in a dancing motion dealing damage. Upon having 2 or more buffs, this skill is a guaranteed crit. After applying a 15% increased accuracy buff to self for each buff affecting yourself. And the combined attack is nothing to go home about. It's if an enemy is attacking, continuous damage applies 30% increased damage to yourself before attacking. Not crazy. It's okay if you need to use it in like a last ditch effort, but this the ultimate in the skill 2 is where it's at. Passive applies 5% increased damage to self, so you're just buffing yourself even more. And then the unique passive applies Exciting Dance buff to self for receiving a buff. Exciting Dance does 5% increased endurance, 5% increased block, and then after Exciting Dance reaches 5 stacks, you gain Idle Debut for 2 turns. Idle Debut then gives you 30% increased endurance, 30% increased block, and 50% increased damage. So you're just getting a crap ton of everything. This unit is amazing, man. Okay, so now that we know what each move does and how he just insanely buffs himself, how should you build a team around this unit? So no matter if you're running PvE or PvP, what you're wanting to do is rerunning like Finral, Voltos, Sally, William. You know, you want to run anyone that's going to debuff the enemies or enemy that you're attacking with some type of incapacitate or damage resistance, that type of thing. And then you want to run people that are going to buff the crap out of him. Because remember, you get a 10% increased crit rate buff to self for each buff that's affecting you. So if you're applying 5 buffs to him, I'm not saying 5 is the minimum that you want to apply, right? You apply 5 buffs to him, he's getting whatever stat boost that those buffs are giving him. And then from there, by applying a buff to him, he gets Exciting Dance. If you get 5 Exciting Dances, then you gain Idle Debut, which is, you know, you add 5 buffs, he gets 5 buffs of Exciting Dance, and then 1 buff of Idle Debut. That's a total of 6 extra buffs, so that's 11 buffs. That's 110% increased crit rate. That is insane. Because if you can survive long enough or outspeed all your opponents in PvP, get him that 110% crit rate buff. This skill 2 is going to go crazy and destroy almost everyone on the other team. And if you're not using him PvP wise, if you're using him PvE, you drop this dancing vortex, you know, this part don't even matter anymore, because, you know, you're getting a guaranteed crit because you definitely have more than 2 buffs on them. And then for attack after applying a 15% increased accuracy buff to self for each buff affecting yourself. So whatever 11 times 15 is, it's a lot of freaking percentage. But you're gonna be nuking so hard with this man. You're gonna be hitting over 1 million every time, as long as you build him right. And probably, you know, even if you don't even build his gear right, this man's gonna be hitting hard every single time. When it comes to gear, since he's getting a guaranteed crit here and increased crit rate here, as long as you're building him appropriately, he already has a 15% chance to crit. Don't put any crit rate on him whatsoever. You want to be running attack gear, and you want to run crit damage gear. That's really what you want to do. If you want to try to make him a little bit more tanky, you can put some defense on him. You know, you can put some penetration on him. You can put some speed on him. But really, the third set does not matter, in my opinion. You just want to be running attack. You want to run attack, and then you want to run crit damage, because you just want him to hit as hard as physically possible. So now that we know how good this unit is, should you summon on him? Unfortunately, I'm going to tell you no, and no matter if I tell you no or whoever else tells you no, if you're free to play or you don't spend a lot on the game, or even even if you do spend a lot on the game, depending on how hard you went for Julius and Noelle, you probably don't have any tickets or crystals to even summon for this man, because they're just releasing units so fast. Now, if there's some physical reason that you didn't get Julius or you didn't summon on Noelle, or if you're watching this video and Julius is gone and Kiato's still here, you know, then you probably want to summon on him, because he, like I said, he's insane. He's great PvE wise. He's amazing PvE wise, especially compared to PvP now, because if you don't end up killing everyone with the skill 2, that's if you're even able to get him buffed up enough to do the skill 2 in PvP. You know, if you don't kill everybody, then he's just going to die immediately, and then you have nothing but supporters and debuffers on your team that aren't going to do much to a resurrected Julius. So just for the simple fact that we got Julius first, and in like the time frame that we've gotten everybody, you're either A, you can't summon physically, or B, you got Julius and there's really no reason to summon for this character unless you really just want a PvE NUKER of some kind, which you can really just do with Julius. I mean, he does it better single target attacking for boss stages, but you can still do it with other units. So sadly, it might be a hard skip, but even if you do skip him, since he's a general pull unit, you can get him later on in the game. But anyway, guys, that's going to be it for this video. If you enjoyed, make sure you drop a like on the video, comment how your grind's going, all that other good stuff. And anyway, guys, I'll see you the fuck later. Peace.